Are you trying to figure out how to get things done? Are you trying to look for knowledge that can actually help you do something, be better at what you do? Hi, I'm Joyce Mbaya, founder of Zydii, where we provide affordable online courses for Africa. This is the place for you, the Zydii podcast, where we have inspiring conversations with amazing people. And the ultimate goal is to help you know more so you can do more.
So welcome to our weekly podcast where we interview guests, Zydii colleagues, and experts, Zydii instructors, to just get to understand what they do, their journeys, and how even they have gotten here. So today we have a special guest with us, Esther, and she will be, of course, taking us through on coffee. She's an expert on coffee. And you'll be able to hear more from her. But I just want us to do a quick introduction so that at least you get to know who's on call. My name is Bonfas. I'm the project manager at Zydii, and I help, of course, with the day-to-day, activities, helping instructors, managing customers, such activities. So I want to also invite my colleague Kevin to do his introductions. Then we'll get to hear from Esther.
Yeah, hi guys. My name is Kevin Kabingu, content lead for Zydii. I'm the one who makes the videos about these amazing people that Boniface is talking about. I'm glad to be here.
Thank you, Kevin. So over to our special guest, Esther. So Esther, please, we'd like, of course, to get to know first, who is Esther?
Okay. Hello, everyone. My name is Esther Otieno. I am the founder and director at Barista Pro, and also a passionate coffee educator. And I run a barista school in Nairobi, Kenya, called Barista Pro Kenya.
Thank you, Esther. So you said you run a Barista Pro school in Nairobi, right? Where is it located?
Barista Pro Kenya is located in Westlands, the Mirage building in Westlands.
Good to know. So if you want to check out that school, of course we will be diving deep. You can visit Westlands Mirage Hotel, and then you'll be able to at least is it Mirage Hotel or building? It is Mirage building.
No, it's a building, right? Called the Mirage. It's the Mirage. It's just off Wayaki Way in Westlands.
So Esther, today, because we want to talk about coffee, but firstly, you have a course on Zydii, right? Could you talk to us more about the course that is already on Zydii?
I think, Bonnie, before we get to the course on Zydii,
okay.
I really wanted her to still go on the coffee bit, what it is, and what really got her into coffee. Why coffee? Why not something? It's not a common thing that we hear a lot of people like wanting to do, especially in Kenya.
Yes, many people actually ask me that question. Why coffee? Like what led you to, starting a barista school? So I don't know whether you know that Kenya is one of the producers of the best coffee in the entire world. So I don't know whether people have that information. So we produce one of the best coffees in the world. But something about Kenyans until today, unfortunately, is that we are not coffee drinkers. So why is it that we are producing one of the best qualities of coffee in the world, yet we the locals are not drinking coffee and we don't know much about coffee? So that's what drove me to delve deeper into coffee and coffee education. And that's why I started Barista Pro, which is a school where you come and learn about coffee and get some coffee brewing skills so that you are able to brew a good cup of coffee. So that's what got me into coffee and starting a barista school.
Wow, that is amazing. Getting to know that Kenya produces one of the best coffees in the world. Now,
and by the way, not only the best, the most expensive coffee in the world.
Wow.
Really? Okay. Usually to coffee, nini.
Imagine, and that's what drove me to start. But we don't even understand where we are with Kenyan coffee. We are at the top, yet the locals don't appreciate it, don't know anything about it. So that's what actually just drove me to start a barista school.
And let me ask Esther, why is it expensive? Is it because of the quality, or why? Why is it expensive?
Because of the quality. The quality of Kenyan coffee is a very high quality coffee, and that is why it's expensive. And the other reason why it's expensive is because we are not producing much. So it is kind of scarce. Yeah, because we are not producing much. So this is very good quality coffee, but it's very in terms of volume, we are producing less. So there are many people wanting to buy it, but the quantity is less. So that's why it's priced that way. That's why the Kenyan coffee is also expensive.
It's like you're giving me ideas for farming. Because there's demand, there's market.
Yeah,
mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's cool.
Yeah, but before you start the coffee, there's a reason why the production of coffee in Kenya is dwindling. It's because there's also a lot of politics surrounding coffee in Kenya. So guys are under corruption and also corruption. So guys are the farmers are getting frustrated. So some of them, and a good number of them, have actually uprooted the coffee. They've uprooted the coffee and started growing other things or doing real estate. So that's why the production of Kenyan coffee is, it's dwindling. And that is also why it's now getting more scarce and more expensive.
That is incredible because, wow. So that means then we need to, one of the things that we can do is just to try to reach out to our legislators to at least put in laws that can favor this kind of farming, because from what you're saying, I'm picking up is there's demand, there's market for this type of product. But because of maybe laws and we have said corruption, it's now hindering many people from practicing this.
It's those middlemen.
This is
it's the middlemen. Yeah.
Wow, I've never thought about it this way. So okay. So from also your studies, as you even teach in school, why do you think like many Kenyans don't like coffee? Is it lack of education? Because is it people have fears about coffee. People prefer tea to coffee. Why do you think that is?
Yes, you're absolutely right. Just to give you some information, right now, the local coffee consumption is at 5%. Can you imagine?
What?
5%. Like we are just drinking 5% of our beautiful quality coffee and exporting 95%. And the reason is one of the things you've mentioned, that Kenya is still very much a coffee drinking nation. A tea drinking nation. Yeah. We are very much a tea drinking nation. Most of us are drinking tea and not coffee. And there's a reason also for that. Why are we only drinking tea? Because it's our history. During the colonial rule, the Kenyans were not allowed to grow coffee or trade coffee. We were not allowed by the colonialists. Yeah. So it's from history. So once we got independence and we became free and we are told, by the way, guys, you can actually grow your own coffee. You can actually trade the coffee. So it's a new thing. We are still getting used to it. And that is what made Kenya a tea drinking nation, because it was forbidden by the colonialists to actually drink or even grow coffee. So that's why we are still, very strongly a tea drinking nation. But the upcoming generation, the Gen Z onwards, they are just finding tea very old school. So these are the guys who are now drinking lots of coffee. So I believe soon that consumption percentage is going to change and it's going to go higher.
No, I'm saying it's interesting you said that, because I remember reading something about marketing when I think it was Nescafe wanted to get into either Japan or China, one of the Asian countries. And because it wasn't a country that usually drank a lot of coffee. So what they did was, they said they want to market to the adults. What they did, they started making cartoons about coffee for kids. So when that generation grew up, that's when they started selling the coffee. Like they went full on selling the coffee because this generation grew up knowing and having a connection with the coffee. It was an interesting strategy.
Oh, yeah. So right now, as much as consumption is 5%, believe you me, that's going to change because the generation Gen Z going forward, these guys are coffee drinkers. They are not tea drinkers because they just find, number one, coffee fashionable and tea a very old school kind of thing. And now to answer your question, like why? Like now to answer your question, why is it that we are at 5% now? I think I've answered one of them. Like one, during the colonial times, Kenyans were not allowed to drink or grow coffee. So that's why. Yeah. So number two, there are a lot of myths. So you are right. There are a lot of myths surrounding coffee, that coffee is not good for your health and things like that have discouraged quite a number of people from drinking coffee. And also Kenyans really don't know much about coffee. So again, you are right that we don't have any coffee education. Most of the people I interact with, my family, my friends, even students, I ask them, why don't you drink coffee? The first thing is like, I really don't know much about coffee. I don't have any information about coffee. I don't know how it's supposed to be brewed. I don't know how it's supposed to taste. And that is exactly why we set up Barista Pro, to provide that coffee education that Kenyans are lacking, to teach them how to properly brew a good cup of coffee. That's why.
Wow.
And also to demystify coffee. Some of these myths that people believe about coffee, they are not really true. So the coffee education part also helps to demystify the coffee when it comes to certain myths.
Wow. Because, one of the things I remember then I smiled here is I've never had someone tell me, as you said, Gen Z or even Gen Y, they find coffee to be fashionable. I've never had someone tell me, do you want to go for a tea date? It's usually a coffee. Yeah.
Exactly. In fact, most of them find it embarrassing. When you are drinking tea, they're like, hey, you are embarrassing me. Like they find tea so, like you're such an old person. How can you be drinking tea? So to them, coffee.
With older people.
Baby boomers.
So coffee is fashionable. Like when I go to a coffee shop and ask for a latte, a mocha, a cappuccino, it's fashionable.
It is. And to be honest, me, I'm a coffee drinker. I never take tea. But you mentioned meats, and I think I'm living on some of the meats because I usually limit myself to 1 cup of coffee per day. Because there's a video I watched. They say if you drink a lot, it affects the liver, your body. So there are some fears I do, to be honest, and I'm also now opening up here. I drink coffee. I would love to take more, but I limit myself to 1 cup of coffee per day because I do have some fears around it. I feel like it's not healthy, and then people make jokes about it. They say, I've never seen it in my life. I've not even taken coffee in my life. So I wonder, is it very healthy like tea? Because when someone tells me to take tea, like you have green tea for slimming, people always look at tea to be very good. But when you look at coffee, you're always thinking about how your organs may suffer. What do you think about that, Esther?
There are some truths. Like number one, coffee has a stimulant called caffeine, and we have to take caffeine in moderation. So too much of everything is also not good. So that's why people limit their intake of coffee because of the high levels of caffeine. Yeah, so of course, when you overdose on caffeine, of course, there are certain things that your body will respond to. Number one, you will not be able to sleep, insomnia, because of caffeine. It also dehydrates the body. So if you are a heavy coffee drinker, you need to be drinking lots and lots of water. It increases several things because, again, it has high levels of caffeine, which is a stimulant. So it increases your heart rate. It increases your metabolic rate. So that thing of slimming, it's really not true, but it helps to increase your metabolic rate, like how fast your body breaks down the food. And that is why traditionally coffee used to be drunk after meals, because it helps with digestion because of that increase of metabolic rate. It also increases, increases your heart rate. It increases your energy levels. That's why when you're feeling not energetic, then people intentionally overdose on caffeine to get that high, to get that energy up. Yeah. So some of those things are true. Yes.
Okay. So
so you're supposed to take it in moderation. Yeah.
When you say moderation, how many cups per day would you recommend?
You're allowed, a day has 24 hours, so you are allowed 3 to 4 cups a day. And please space them out. Don't take 3 cups within 1 hour. Like a day has 24 hours. So so you see some people will be like, but you said 3 to 4 cups. So what is wrong if I take the 4 cups within 1 hour? Because some people can actually do that. They can actually take the 4 cups in 1 hour. That's overdosing. So space it out. Yeah. So space it out. Yeah.
Okay, so one last question before I let Kevin, if he has a question to ask, is like for me, usually, sometimes I can take coffee at 11 at night and then sleep at 11:30. Because there are people, when they take coffee, they can't sleep. But me, I still sleep. Is it that I'm lying to myself that I sleep? Or if I didn't take that coffee, I would have even slept deeper or even better?
You've already reached tolerance. Your body has reached tolerance. That's why you are able to drink coffee at 11 and sleep at 11:30. So because the coffee is so used to your system, so you've reached the tolerance stage, because those things have stages. Like when you're very new, you will drink that 1 cup and you will not be able to sleep. But once your body is used to the caffeine, we call that tolerance stage, where it doesn't have any effect on you, or the effects are diminished. And then now there's the addiction stage. Addiction stage is when you can't function properly without a shot of caffeine.
So what do I do? Because I want to get back to that new stage. Do I need to be off of it for some time, or what do you advise now your clients to do when they are at that stage?
No, that's okay. That's very okay, because it really does not affect you in any way. You can drink it at 11 and sleep at 11:30, so that's okay. That's what most coffee drinkers are usually on 2 sides. You're either the tolerance stage or the addiction stage. So tolerance stage is okay. Addiction stage is not good, because it means you cannot properly function without a shot of caffeine in your system. Yeah.
Kevin, do you have a question, or should I proceed?
Yeah, it's my question is related to something she said earlier. And I wanted to know if that 5% of coffee drinkers you are talking about, is it our coffee, the high quality coffee, or is it mostly this coffee we get from outside that is low quality?
Mostly the low quality or average quality, because most of our good quality coffee, I'm not saying all, but most, is exported. Because, to be fair, surely I've produced the best quality of coffee, but locals are not drinking it. So what will I do? Of course, I will export it. So most of the coffee being drunk is actually the lower quality of coffee.
So it also adds to the spiral of people not wanting to drink coffee because they get the bad one.
Yes, true. But also, there's still some bit of the good quality remaining. The reason why most people are not buying the good quality is, guys, always, good quality will always be expensive. So again, people are like, no, aki kahawa, it's too expensive. I'd rather tea is cheaper. Yeah, this coffee is good. I like it, but it's too expensive. So that is one of the limitations to people buying coffee, because they find it expensive compared to tea.
Like, which coffees will you recommend for you now? For you, Esther, like the high quality, because I've been drinking coffee and I want the best. So, like, which type of, could you say maybe a brand? I don't know if this is okay with you, or it will.
Okay, I can't say a brand because I work with all of them, and that's the beauty of being at Barista Pro, because these are my friends and my colleagues, and I have the freedom of using any coffee I want. Yeah. So
so how do I know when I go to the supermarket to buy coffee? How do I know, like, this is, so should I just check the price? If it's expensive, that means it's high quality? Or if someone is listening to you right now, they say, okay, Esther, you have advised me, I want to go and get some good coffee. How do I then identify good coffee from the shelves?
Yes, so number one,
Esther, also, before you answer that, also to piggyback on what Bonnie is asking, because I want us to go into the Barista Pro bit of the discussion. Yes, there's the type of coffee. I also want you to touch on the ways of making coffee to get the best quality.
Okay, so so number one, how do we know a good quality coffee? Of course, number one is price. The price, because when you go to the supermarkets, there's coffee for 100 shillings and there's coffee for 1,800 shillings. Yeah, so price number one will tell you the good quality coffee from the low quality coffee. And then the other thing is you just have to buy the coffee and taste it. There's something in the coffee profession we call cupping. Even for me, when I'm buying coffee, I will, apart from the price, I wouldn't really tell if it's a good cup of coffee until I taste it. So we just have to experiment. But the first indication of a good quality coffee will be price. But when it comes to taste, you will just have to brew it,
try and
taste it. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And in our world, that's what we call cupping. We call cupping. So cupping is the art of tasting coffee to evaluate its quality. Because number one, I'll have seen the price. Yes, it's expensive. And then number two, I'll see the quality of roast. Yes, it's good. Yeah. Number three, I will get the aroma of coffee. The aroma is good. But really, you can't tell the quality until you taste it. So you just have to experiment also with the taste to know a good quality coffee from a poor quality coffee. Then also ways of making it. So Kevin, that is exactly why Barista Pro is alive and well. Because we came to discover that sometimes the farmer has done a very good job growing the coffee. The roaster has done an excellent job to roast the coffee. Then the barista, who is the person brewing the coffee, messes it up. So by the time it goes to the consumer who's drinking it, they're like, this coffee is terrible. But if you look at the chain, the producer did a good job. The roaster did a good job. And the person who messed it up is the person brewing the coffee. And the person brewing the coffee is professionally who we call the baristas. So, of course, there is a proper way of brewing the coffee. And that is exactly why Barista Pro exists. Because our core business is to teach people how to brew this coffee well so that you end up with a good tasting cup of coffee. So the way you brew it is extremely important.
Yeah. Good points. Now, let me ask, as we break it down now, even to the course that you have on Zydii, as we wind up, because you have really shared some insights about coffee that even me as a coffee drinker have helped me, even with now choosing the best coffee. I will try those. There's one that I've stuck with, but I'm going to explore others. So, like, how many types of coffees do we have? I don't know if that's the right question, because I know we have cappuccino. Are they types, or what are those things?
Okay, before I answer the types, I think just to continue on the question that Kevin asked, like, is there a way of brewing this coffee to make it taste good? So the answer is yes. And I just want to mention the fundamentals of brewing a good cup of coffee. So number one, you have to buy good quality coffee. Now, one of the things that I'll say is not good quality coffee, there's this coffee called Kahawa number 1. Do you know most Kenyans think that that's the best coffee, but that's the
in fact, I love that one.
Of quality.
I feel targeted.
Even me, because I really enjoy that one, by the way.
Kahawa number 1.
Yeah.
Now, let me burst your
yes.
bubble. It's the poorest quality of coffee. It's like reject coffee. It's like coffee that has been rejected and it's supposed to be thrown away. But now somebody decided they will throw it away. They will roast it, grind it, and sell it. So that is the poorest. Yes, and they have a very good marketing gimmick. You see, when they say number 1, you think it's the best, but it's actually the opposite. It's the poorest quality of coffee. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So the number 1, a brewing fundamental: buy good quality coffee beans. Yeah, that's where you start. I always tell people, a barista is not a miracle worker. You cannot buy, poor quality coffee beans and expect me to produce a good cup. It doesn't work like that. You have to buy good quality coffee beans for me to produce good quality cup of coffee. So buy good quality coffee. Number 2, your coffee must always be fresh. Number 3, equipment. Yeah, the equipment that you're using to brew the coffee is extremely important. They have to be functioning properly and they need to be clean. The other fundamental is use good quality water. You should, you guys have no idea the amount of money that serious coffee shops invest in just making sure they have good quality water. So anyone in the food and beverage
water?
Like, for example, you cannot brew coffee with the salty water, like watu wa Mombasa. It will affect the coffee. Yeah. And it will not only affect how the coffee is tasting, it will also affect the performance of the machines. Yeah. I'll give another example. You cannot use hard water to brew coffee because the hard water, the coffee does not dissolve in the hard water. So the quality of your water must be on point for your coffee to taste good and also for your machines to function properly. So water is extremely important. So that's what people don't know. The quality of water is important. Number 3, Boniface, you've asked about the types of coffees, these are the coffee beverages. Most of these drinks, the cappuccinos, lattes, mochas, 97%, they are made with milk. So you must, another fundamental of brewing coffee, you must use good quality milk. Yeah. Otherwise, if you're not using good quality milk in terms of taste, then people will not drink your coffee. Then the other fundamental, So milk, the type of milk and how it tastes when I make the coffee, it's very important. Because if I
as you are mentioning on those things, let me ask you, does it have to be bitter? Do you have, because Kahawa number 1 is usually not bitter. So is this true? Like good coffee should be bitter? What is your thoughts about that as you are talking about?
Of course not. A good cup of coffee shouldn't be bitter at all. And these are some of the myths that people have been convinced to believe. But a good cup of coffee should not be bitter at all. So the type of milk that you're buying is also very important. And two other fundamentals: the grind size of the coffee, like the grinds you're buying. If you go to the supermarket, you will see on the packets it's written fine grind, medium grind. Those things are so important. You need to know this coffee equipment that I have, what kind of grind size am I supposed to use for this particular equipment? So if you use the wrong grind size, you will not have the right result. So you need to know which grind size to use for different coffee machines. Then finally, you have to have barista skills. Not everyone or anyone can brew a good cup of coffee. So you have to be professionally trained, to know how to brew coffee properly for you to end up with a good quality cup. So wow. I think it's just important for me to mention that. Then going back to Boniface, so Boniface, to go back to your question, like how many types of coffee do we have? I think the right, is how many coffee beverages? How many coffee beverages do we have? They are countless, depending on the country that you go to. There are some coffee beverages that are not even in the Kenyan coffee shops because we don't know about them. So some of these coffee beverages are cultural. They are actually cultural. Like, for example, Turkish coffee. Turkish coffee, you will mostly find it in Arabic countries. Yeah. Then there's things like cortado. So there are so many. Yeah. But the most common ones that you will find worldwide are like 6. So you will get a cappuccino is standard, a latte is standard. There is a mocha, there is latte macchiato, there is espresso macchiato, and there is Americano. And there is also filter coffee. So those are the basic and most common coffee beverages. For anyone who wants to delve into coffee, we need to know that there are 2 methods of brewing coffee, and that's what is on Zydii, the Zydii platform at the moment. There are 2 methods of brewing coffee. So the first method is filter coffee, and I've covered that in Zydii. What we've covered on Zydii, there's filter coffee, and that's just the regular coffee that you can even use a sufuria to brew. That's what we call filter coffee. Then the other method is the most popular method that people like drinking, especially when we go to the coffee shops. The other method is the espresso method of brewing. And now the espresso method of brewing is what now gives us drinks like the cappuccinos, lattes, mochas, Americanos. Now that's the espresso method of brewing. So when you're going to a coffee shop or when you want to drink coffee, you need to know which coffee beverage you want to drink. Do you want an espresso-based coffee or do you want a filter coffee? And I've covered both of them on Zydii.
Yeah. So we will be attaching, of course, the link to how she makes coffee there. And in fact, it's complimentary, meaning it's free. Esther decided, of course, to give back. You can go through the course. We are going to give the links below the podcast. You can be able to watch and then, of course, learn. And then we'll also leave more information about her so that at least you can get in touch with her if you want to go and dive deep into coffee making. So, closing remarks from you, Esther, as we wind up the podcast. Maybe you want to invite us to drink, to make coffee. to make Kenya coffee-loving nation.
Yeah.
Talk to us. Talk to the 95%.
Esther, and also for the guys who want to be baristas, what course of action would you or advice would you give them?
So number 1, just closing remarks from me. Like, why does Barista Pro Kenya exist? So I've already mentioned we are a barista school. So why a barista school? So number 1, the primary reason I've come to find that people are not drinking coffee is because they don't have any information about coffee. So Barista Pro is here, first of all, to demystify coffee for you, and impart coffee knowledge, and also teach you how to brew coffee well so that we can improve the quality standards of brewed coffee, whether we are brewing it at home or in a coffee shop. We want to improve the quality standards of brewed coffee so that people can start enjoying drinking coffee. Because they need to understand coffee should not be bitter. any bitter coffee is because it's not been brewed properly. Yeah. So once coffee is properly brewed, then people will start enjoying to drink coffee, which will increase our local coffee consumption so that we move from 5% to hopefully, something like 60%, because that's where Ethiopians are there. Ethiopians are consuming 60% of their own coffee. So we want to reach those levels. We want to increase local coffee consumption because people are now, they know now how to brew coffee, and we are the quality has improved, and we start consuming more, so that we can increase the local coffee consumption, and also to make sure that the youth get employed. That is also a passion for me, that youth get employed. And the reason why I'm saying youth get employed, because most of the baristas are youth. Like right now, 99% of the students who come to our school are between the age of 18 to 24. If you go to the coffee shops, you'll find that most of the baristas are actually youth. So the barista profession is providing employment for the youth. And all this to just make sure that Barista Pro is the place to go when you want a professionally trained barista. And the course of action for anyone who wants to do the barista course is do your homework. Do your homework. Just go to the social media platforms or to the internet, and search for barista schools in Kenya, and they'll be able to find us. And because there are also several other barista schools that are offering barista training. And for us, we have 3 courses. We have the basic course, advanced course, and professional course. So you just sign up for the course that best suits your needs. So that's the course of action that I will recommend for anyone who wants to become a barista.
Okay, thanks, Esther. Because of time, we really appreciated you taking your time to come and join us on this podcast. As the listeners, as we said, we'll be sharing links to the free course so that you can also have an experience, and then we will also share details so that you can reach out to her.
That's been our episode for this week. Very informative. First thing on my to-do list is to draw out the kahawa number 1 in my house and up my game. So it's been very informative, very insightful. And as Bonnie has said, you'll get all the links for her course, where to find her, Barista Pro, and anything if you have any questions for her. And hope to see you, hear you next time.
This week's episode has come to an end, but the fun doesn't have to stop here. If you have any questions, suggestions, or feedback, head over right now to Twitter and Facebook and like and share, comment, get involved. Let us know what you think, what you want to learn next, and join us next time.